There's a weird air about this episode, because it's like, it's the end of one of the greats. Deservedly so, but still the end of one of the greats. You know what I mean?
I like a lot of people online saying this was a pretty crazy finale for the season. They're just not acknowledging that the rest of the season's going to happen.
But look, we're going to keep,
lot.
everyone's going to keep watching. You're going to keep watching. You got to see the fallout from all of this. But you've already read it in the name, and I guess we can just say, Kenya no more.
Bros and shows. I gotta have me my bros and shows. Bros and shows. Bros and shows. I gotta have me my bros and shows.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Bros and Shows. I'm your co-host, Steele Russell, joined as always by the one and only Chili Goots. It's chilly. I'm sad. It's gray and cold, and I'm sad.
That's okay. I want to start off by saying that this episode went by so much faster than I thought it would.
Right?
Knowing that we were going to get that at the end, looking forward to seeing what that moment was. Usually things take much longer to get there, right?
Mm-hmm.
This thing flew by. Maybe it's because nothing really happened before it.
Not a lot happened, but I don't know. There's something to this cast, and I'll give them credit there where I'm entertained. I just like
I'm starting to
watching
really like Kelly.
Kelly's
as a
great.
newbie, yeah.
I like Kelly. I think Angela, she's awesome.
Uh-huh.
I enjoy the scenes we're getting with them that don't have to do with the shit later. I know that they're talking
that's
about
actually.
it.
I think that's good. I think it's enjoyable.
Yeah.
Even leading up to it, knowing what's going to happen at the end, and talking about what happened last week with Brit and Kenya, I feel like it's just way more enjoyable. They're not nothing scenes.
Right.
They're fun scenes.
Exactly. I'm having fun watching them just do their thing. And I know
Yeah.
they're talking about Brit a lot and they're talking about the situation, but there's just something entertaining about this cast, which is a great thing, especially considering Kenya's leaving. And obviously, the Kenya Moore stands of the world are claiming, as you said, that, this was the season finale. They're no longer watching, which would be so silly to not watch this show. It's doing well. This show is good. We are enjoying it. The rest of the cast is doing well. We'll get into the whole thing at the end. The way that it played out, I'm like, oof.
Yeah, I think it's more like the old guard of Housewives fans. You used to be a fan of one of them for pretty much all franchises. Like, you would have the one that you would stick by, the one that you would stand for the most. Those are the people that are like, all right, Kenya's gone, I'm gone.
Yeah, well, it's like the Roni thing, the Ron J thing with Teresa. It's like, oh, you're getting rid of, well, that's the whole show. There's no show without her. It's that whole song and dance.
Right.
It's like, they've already restructured the show so much. Losing Kenya, is it a hit? Yeah. Is
Yeah,
it going to
for
hit a little bit? For sure. She's Kenya Moore. She's been around for a while. Yes, credit where credit's due. They shook up the whole cast for the most part. It's not like a far cry from what we're already watching.
I would also argue that Kenya is not even cracking the top 5 as far as most entertaining up
No.
to this point. And yeah, you could look at a couple of different things. Maybe she was in, what they had originally filmed. And we
probably
do
got
know
edited
that
out.
There were some things that were edited out for sure. A lot of her confessionals, so to speak, things like that. But for the rest of the cast as a whole, I'm enjoying pretty much everybody from front to back. And I've got no issues with Kenya necessarily leaving. I do want to see, obviously we're going to have the Fallout episode, next episode, maybe a little bit more after that. But I want to see how the cast as a whole regroups and gets back to a lot of other unresolved matters.
I think a big sticking point as well is the reaction of the cast. They're not stoked about what happened.
No,
So I
they're
think
not.
They understand are there some questions that need to be answered as to the Brit of it all? For sure.
Yeah.
But I think that after that happened, they're all probably like, yeah, you can't really come back from that one. Because I had an image in my mind of how this went.
Yeah, me too.
It went so much worse.
So much worse.
I could not have fathomed it would go this bad.
Yeah, I thought I knew all the context of how
Same.
we were going to get this, and we knew the setting, we knew everything. I didn't really understand what we were going to get with all of this. I thought, honestly, I didn't know who was going to be in that room.
I didn't know who's going to be in
Realize
the
it was a
room.
fucking grand opening.
Didn't know what the picture really was.
Yeah.
Didn't understand. Once I
I had an understanding of what the picture was because we know the context.
Right.
But still, nothing could have really prepped you for that.
No, because when I watched you play, I was like, "Oh yeah, you got to go."
Yeah.
You can't.
You're getting no support from anybody. Even Cynthia. I like the way that Cynthia's approach to it
handled
was.
very well.
What are you doing? You're so much better than this. You did not have to do this.
Yeah,
Bad move.
bad. It was tough. It was a really that scene was like the whole episode flew by. That scene was slow motion. I was like, oh God, it's getting worse. And it was bad before she pulled the fucking things out.
I think the best part was I thought that I missed something because it was right around the same time that Drew and Porsha were talking too.
Oh God.
So I'm like, I think I may have missed something in here. Let me quickly go back and see. And I go back a little too far. Like, nope. I don't want. Nope.
It was a lot. It was a lot. It was not a good look. But let's jump into the episode, and we start out with Shamea and Angela clearing the air, which we love to see that. Obviously, we had the olive branch scene, which
Huge fan.
upon further investigation, it was in fact just a tree branch.
Yeah, of
not
course
an
it
olive
was.
branch. But I loved the sentiment. I love that these two
But
can
that's-
vibe.
You know what the best part about Shamea is? It could have very easily been an actual olive branch that she had gone out and bought for the prop
Yeah,
because she would do that.
I wouldn't be
And I
surprised.
would not think twice about it.
I am turning into a huge Shamea fan.
I like her a lot. And really, this is what it comes down to. She understands her role. We know that her and Angela didn't get along up front. We have all of the, LaToya Jackson comments, which were admittedly very funny.
It was funny.
But she apologized specifically
Your
for
nose is
that.
mine.
She didn't go for even after she was apologizing, she still had to get a crack in there. It's fine. It's great. It's fun. But she knows what she's doing, and she did the specific apology.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for what I said about your body. I shouldn't have done that. It wasn't just like let's throw a
huge-
tarp over an entire apology here and just be like, you know what, I'm sorry I shouldn't have acted that way, which also would have been acceptable.
Or the
in the Housewives world.
the classic Housewives. I'm sorry that you got upset.
Yeah, I'm sorry that offended you. It wasn't meant to offend you. It was meant to be funny and also petty.
Yeah, sorry you had a reaction to that.
Yeah.
That's what we normally
Yeah, we
get.
didn't get that. We got a genuine apology. And we also have somebody in Angela who we're still getting to know pretty well. She seems like she's just able to let things just roll. Like, you know what? It's not that serious. I do want to get to know you still. We got off on the wrong foot twice now. Let's just bury it. Who cares?
Watching her with Charles, I'm wondering if that's where it comes from.
I think it has to be.
Because
Yeah.
she's just like, fuck it, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not
And
even
also,
worth
like, where it comes from with Charles talking about, like, his family and her family
Yeah.
later, too. He's like, I don't fucking care.
it. Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to it. But Britt arrives, and along with everybody else in the cast, they're just confused about the reaction that happened. And you can look at it a lot of ways. Mainly what happened was she had been poked previously. She didn't like the ring comment, which we talked about was such a whatever thing, especially with Kenya. Like,
Still, even watching it again, it's like, there's nothing there.
no, and she's so stuck on that she was waiting for something else, and she was almost geared up to go into or go after Kenya. She was just waiting for an opportunity. So she got a small chance to do it because Kenya was dismissing her a little bit, and she went from 0 to 1,000.
Yeah.
And everybody there was like, "Whoa, dude, bump the brakes a
I
little
want to
bit."
make a joke. I don't know how this is going to go, though.
But now you have to.
I know. Now I have to. It feels like Britt brought a gun to a knife fight.
Yeah.
Like, pretty much.
Look,
She expected to get the Kenya Moore of old, the Kenya Moore that's going to go after you and just rip you, which you did eventually
and then
to
some.
a crazy extent.
Yep.
But she was expecting so much more, and Kenya was not giving her the time of day. She escalated to the point that she imagined it would get to, and Kenya wasn't allowing it to get there. She was
Nope.
just ignoring her and giving her dust, as she says later. And she was still kept that energy, and it was such a bad move. It was just, it's a really bad look. And I know she did come into the scene apologetic. She came into the scene somewhat understanding, like, hey, I shouldn't have taken it that
I
far.
think she gets what she did.
She definitely understands.
But
what
I
she
don't
did.
know if
there
it's-
might be remorse, a little bit of remorse.
That's what I said. Remorse, or you're like, "Oh shit, I might get fired."
I think it's the latter.
Yeah.
With a little bit of remorse about potentially getting fired.
Yeah, maybe.
Not remorse of saying the comment or threatening Kenya.
I don't want to take it fully away. I do think she understands, like, that was too far. To say pistols is too much.
Yeah.
I don't think she regrets, like, reacting. I think she
I
regrets.
don't think she
what
regrets
said.
whips. She regrets pistols.
Pistols. I
Yeah.
think pistols is where she went, like, missed the mark, and that's.
Uh-huh.
I do think that she feels like she went too far. But she says, I wasn't trying to intimidate. And it's like, I wouldn't want her to think I'd harm her. It's like, bruh, you said
Okay.
pistols. Like,
Mhm.
there's really only one way to take that, unfortunately, whether you meant it. Because I don't think that people were like, oh, God, she's going to kill Kenya.
No.
But it's still threatening, right? Like, it's still.
People at the bank might have thought that.
Yeah, the people at the. Yeah, because they.
Do we
they
need to
called
beef up
Angela.
our security?
That's the best part. Angela's like, yeah, what about me? And she's like, well, what happened? Like, the fucking venue.
Yeah. I feel like that completely just went out of everybody else's minds.
100%.
We
but
never think about the venue in any of these housewife fights, do we?
No. No, Rails from Jersey.
We think about Rails,
I still
but
think
in a
about
funny
Rails.
way.
Somebody brings up the Charles comment that Porsha made, that she'd heard some shit about Charles, and they're like, "What do you think about that, Angela?" And she's like, "I didn't ask him. Like, I don't have time for that. Like, my husband's a celebrity.
I love that.
My DMs are flooded. Like, I don't give a shit. It's not worth my time. Not wasting it." But we get to Kenya and Porsha, which is a bummer because seeing these two vibe is actually fun. Like, I would have loved a season of these two getting along.
Yeah.
That's something that we did genuinely miss out on. So that's a bummer. But they're just trying to zhuzh up Kenya's salon for the grand opening. I saw in the captions how zhuzh is spelled.
I did not. Can you please enlighten me?
No, because I didn't rewind it, but it's very confused. It's like, it's
Oh.
weird. Yeah, I don't know if that's the correct
That's-
spelling.
Here's the problem. You ever come across a word like that you want to Google, but you don't even know where to fucking start?
You don't know how to Google it.
I don't know how to Google how to spell that word.
Zhuzh.
I don't even know where it starts. Is it a J, maybe?
It was a J, and then the rest is weird.
It's French, right?
I don't know.
It's got to be French.
Why?
I don't know, weird language.
Okay, fine. To all of our French listeners.
Yeah, it's a romance language. No, it's not. It's a weird language.
Or French Canadian. Yeah, you're pissing off a lot of people with this one. Okay.
okay.
As long as you know. But Kelly arrives as well, and she's sad about Britt, but she does like Kenya. She's trying to keep these two relationships separately, and they are looking at the models for Kenya's show, whatever. She did not invite Britt originally, but didn't not invite Britt either, is what they're landing on.
Yeah, I don't really understand any of that. It was a mass invite at the bank at that dinner. Britt was there.
That's an invite.
Didn't specifically say you're invited, you're not.
Mm-mm.
She also didn't uninvite Britt.
So you're invited.
So you're invited.
Right.
The same as everybody else is invited because there was no card sent out. There was no telegram that we usually see in these shows. Got to get Heather Gay on some sort of scavenger hunt to go get your invite.
Oh, right.
That's the best. But yeah, I mean, if it was a verbal invitation to the whole table, you didn't say not you.
No, so she's still
You would
allowed.
think that you would be uninvited, but she didn't. So
Nope. But they get into the altercation at the bank, and it's like, look, it took a turn. Kenya's like, I disengaged from it, but pistols can't be rescinded, which I agree with. Once you say pistols or guns, it's a much different conversation.
can't just holster them.
The ironic part, Kenya's like, look, I have too much to lose. I'm like, you do. You sure do. So you should think through what your retaliation's going to be because you have a lot to lose. You sunk your daughter's college fund into a salon. You should really think about what you're going to do next, Kenya. You shouldn't do something crazy.
Why was so dumb on so many parts?
Dude, it's so, again,
Choosing that setting to do that is crazy
wild.
work.
It's wild.
Not just doing it at and I'm not condoning any behavior or anything like this, but doing it at a cast setting where you guys are again at a place like the bank with the rest of the cast and there's no one else there, that would have been quote unquote more acceptable.
Yeah, very. Look, we
Less
understand what we're
harmful.
saying.
Yeah, less harmful
Not
to everyone.
No, I don't even Don't don't criticize us for how
I'm nitpicking how she did it, but she shouldn't have done it.
You guys all get what we're saying.
Yeah.
Don't spin this. It should not have happened.
Yeah,
but
don't just clip certain parts of this and make it seem like I said everything Kenya Moore did is perfect.
if she did, oh, see, they're
I
gonna.
just did it perfectly. Yeah, I know what I'm doing.
Well, the whole thing with Kelly in this, she's like, look, that's not who Britt is. It's like you can't say that because she said these things.
I see. This is when I started to really like Kelly, though, because I like the approach here. She is, and undoubtedly, so far, we don't really know her that well, but she's been herself, it seems, the whole time. And I like that she's sticking to her guns.
Hey,
I can't stop. She's sticking to her guns with her friendship. She has a separate friendship with Britt, as she said when she walked in. She's getting closer to Kenya, but she's still not doing all right, I need to grovel. This is Kenya. I need to bow down. She invited me over here. She's nice enough to invite me. I can't say nice things about Britt or try to defend her in any way, as we've seen by other people on the cast do this already, and we're only 6 episodes in. So the fact that she's still sticking there, talking about how Britt's a different person, she's a better person, that's not something that she would normally do. It doesn't speak to her character. Obviously, Kenya's not going to hear any of that, and she's well within her right to do so after that comment.
Sure.
But I like that Kelly's being authentic.
I agree. I think that we've seen that from her from the jump. I don't think that she's.
And I love her waffles.
We are big Nana's Waffles fans. Never tried them, but we are ready to invest.
Pics.
You just let us know where to send the check.
Sometimes all you need is a picture of a waffle, and you can tell.
I agree with that, actually, weirdly. That's one of the few foods I agree with where it's like, yeah, you can tell a waffle by its cover.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. But we get to Angela with her daughter, Amari. This was an interesting scene.
Very.
So Amari's father was murdered in Chicago, which has led to these two becoming extremely close, which makes a lot of sense. And there's some family issues. I think we've heard about the family issues a little bit with her and Charles talking.
Yeah, not to this extent.
Not the specifics.
No,
No, not the specifics. And they start to get into it. And Grandma called Angela and says, you need to talk to your daughter. She's like, well, what happened? She's like, well, I went to their house to borrow the car that you bought for them. It was a whole thing. Your sister got in my face. I think her sister's Alicia.
Yeah, I think so.
Your sister got in my face, and they wanted money for me to use the vehicle. The vehicle that Angela paid for.
Correct.
They wanted money for that. So they get into it. It's a whole thing. Grandma calls Angela, and now Angela's like, shit, well, I'm going to deal with this. I'll make sure everything's fine. And it is interesting to hear her be like, but what do you want me to do? Like, that's my mom.
Yeah.
Like, we need to take care of her, but I will handle this whole thing. We find out that the mom has suffered from bipolar disorder for pretty much the entirety of Angela's life. So you're learning a lot of ins and outs of this whole family, but the bottom line is Mama Bear's pissed. Mama Bear's about to handle some shit. And Amari got married.
Sure did.
Unbeknownst to
24
Angela.
years old. Happened a couple of months ago, 4 months ago or something.
Not a big deal.
Not a big deal. I was going to tell you eventually.
It's 4 months ago.
She said that like 4 times. I was going to tell you eventually. Mom, it's not a big deal. Relax.
It's a big deal.
Fucking deal.
The government's involved now.
Yeah.
It's a huge deal. If you guys get divorced, half of Angela's shit could end up going to that dude. We don't fucking know. So yes, it's a big deal. And it's just nice to see these two interact because of the authenticity.
Yeah. Well, I think for housewife shows in general, and we get a lot of housewife shows now where there isn't a lot of child mom situations that we get to actually see. And it's always nice to see parenting and things like that. And you get a sense of how they are as a mother. This was a good scene for Angela because she's still new. We don't really know what's going on here, but having this kind of conversation sit down and go haywire is a good tape for us to see.
Yeah, and they bring it back together at the end. They're like, look, we're good. I love you. I love you too. Oh, God, we're both
Conversation's not over, but yeah.
Yeah, and exactly. This is definitely going to come back up at some point, but I love their relationship. I loved watching them interact. You can feel the authenticity, which is all we want. It's all we want is for people to be real, so love that scene. But then we get to Porsha and Britt. And Britt's like, look, I took it too far. There's no excuse.
She said this in her confessional, though. This is where I didn't like
She
this.
started out in person. I took it too far,
Yes.
and then it cuts to confessional. There's no excuse.
Where, yes, there's no excuse. No, even I went back and looked at it.
Oh, did I fuck it up?
Even the confessional, all we got was pleasantries.
Oh.
All we got was, it was fucking crazy the
I
other
must
night.
have been writing.
Yeah, no, it was just Porsha saying, that was cray-cray, Britt agreeing, and then it goes Britt's confessional. I took it too far. There's no excuse for my behavior. Say that shit to Porsha.
Yes.
Porsha, her and Kenya are just becoming friends again, or whatever you want to call it. But she might be able to relay some information and save your ass.
Yeah, maybe. And then you'd have somebody to go to bat for you when you go to talk to Kenya, or Porsha can go to Kenya before what happens later and be like, hey, Britt wants to talk. I talked to her. She feels bad, whatever.
That's my other problem with this, and this is, I know, I'm nitpicking, but it's a confessional. This is after
two to 3 weeks. Oh, you're right. You're right.
And you're sitting here saying, it went too far. I took it too far. There's no excuse for that. Revisionist history.
That's a really, really important point, honestly, because now because that was what a lot of people in the comments were saying. I'm not going to take it to the end. Like everything that happens after the end of the episode, I believe that whatever Britt's reaction is, she is entitled to that reaction.
Yeah.
The leading up to it, like the woe is me and like, oh, I don't like, she's clearly putting on for the cameras. I don't know how bad she really feels or if she's just upset because shit, I went too far and now my job's in jeopardy. Now people think I'm crazy, whatever. I don't know what the intent was behind feeling as bad as we talked about earlier. But That's interesting that you pointed that out. So this is all, remember everybody, because I already forgot. The confessional is 2 to 3 weeks later at least. So
Yeah.
she's had time to ruminate on this and figure out how she wants to approach it to make
Yeah.
herself look better.
Because I just wanted to point out how different it felt going to her confessional where she's talking about it. And we're seeing the scene while she's talking in her confessional. And the two of them are talking, but we're not hearing any dialogue.
Good point.
So there's nothing of importance going on there. I don't know what they're talking about, but I get the vibe from Britt during that scene with Porsha that she was still standing on business. Like, yeah, that's what happened. But she's not talking about anything specific. She's not saying, I feel really bad for this. How do I go about like fixing this with Kenya? How do I go about at least trying to clear the air so that people don't think I'm a fucking psycho? What am I supposed to do? They didn't have that conversation, which you would have thought maybe they would have at least some little like tidbits of information in there, a little bit of a conversation about what do I do moving forward, but we didn't really get that.
Well, it's interesting you say that because it ends with something like that, but it took a little while to get there because Portia's trying to understand. She's like, look, I've talked to people that witnessed the ring thing, and they say that no shade was involved. It was ever so slightly shady, but as far, like on the housewives scale, like that was very, very mellow.
Yeah, it's not enough for you to go this far off the deep end.
And say pistols.
Yeah.
No, it was not, but...
Or think that she has it out for you for some reason.
Yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
That's honestly, I think if you let that roll off your back, you could probably talk to Kenya in a normal way.
If you just didn't say what you said. It's the one word that you didn't need to say. And Portia's like, look, I get it with Kenya. Like, I know she pushes buttons. She knows what she's doing. She knew what she was doing at the dinner with the back and forth by cutting you off. Like, she was poking. That's it. That's what she does. She was trying to get a rise out of you. It worked, by the way. And now the ball's in her court. And you're here. But by the way, Britt, she was afraid. Like, she didn't feel great after that. I don't think anybody would leaving somewhere where someone said that to you. And that's when Britt's like, well, I can apologize for her feeling afraid. Okay. Is that remorse? Again, it's like...
That's the apology that we just talked about.
Right. I can
sorry
apologize
you felt
for
that way. Yeah.
Right, exactly. That's not quite the same thing. But Charles and Angela are at home. Charles is just frying up some chicken wings. They looked, by the way...
Great.
Everything
he cooks looks great.
Great fry. Well done, sir. Well done indeed. This scene was fucking funny.
It was just funny.
This was just a funny scene. And I don't think Charles is an asshole.
No.
I just don't think he gives a shit about this show. And I don't think that he understands.
He is who he is, and Angela knows exactly who he is, and she's not taking offense to the things that he's saying.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's it.
So and it's not enough for, and I haven't seen anybody online claiming that he's an asshole.
Okay,
but
good. Because I just don't
want
them
to
way.
either because it's funny.
He's just who he is, I think. And she's cool with it because she's like, well, we got Kenya's opening. He's like, why am I going to go to that? I have hair. I'm not going to that. Well, to support me is like, okay. She's like, none of the other guys are going. Why would I go? What are we doing here?
What am I doing here?
And then she brings up Portia's comment, and he's like, what, is she the feds or something? And that she's barking up the wrong tree. And I love that he adds it, just Google me. All right, Google me, tell me what comes up. He could not give two shits about these rumors.
It's almost like he's a seasoned vet in the housewife game, and he's like, I'm not dealing with any of this. I know where this is going. It's not doing it.
He's more concerned about her washing her hands before she eats the chicken wings, which she did, by the way.
I think it's so refreshing to see Charles because we've seen so many guys on these housewife shows in the last couple of years trying to get their moment in the sun.
Do too much.
Trying to do too much on camera. Trying to make it look like there's some big bad dude or something. Like, you're not going to be doing that in my house. We could see that exact same scenario play out with any other housewife on any other franchise, and they're going to take offense to it, and they're going to have this whole scene about it, and they're going to hold a stink about it for like 2 or 3 episodes.
Yep.
Not him. He doesn't give a shit.
He doesn't care. And like, she starts to talk about, Alicia and Mom and Amari and everything that happened. He's like, I haven't talked to Alicia. I haven't talked to my sister either. What's the difference? Like, why are... And he literally says, like, why are you bringing me all these issues suddenly? Like, where's this shit coming from? It's like, the show, bro.
The show. I like that she tries to mask it with, like, we're married. And he's like, all right.
It's like, we have never talked about these things. Ever. Like, what are you... Can I finish my chicken wings, please? Like, it just was a really fucking funny scene. But we get to D-Day, Kenya's event, and it was... That's the funniest part is like the lead up is just happy. Cynthia's like, we've been through it a lot, like our ups and downs, but I'm so proud of her. I'm so excited for her. Porsha echoes the same sentiment. Like, It's been rough every once in a while, but like this is amazing. I'm so happy for her. It's setting up this beautiful scene, and we know what's coming. And still, I'm not like, oh fuck. I'm like, all right, let's see what happened.
Yeah, it's probably not going to be as bad as they say it is, right, guys?
You know, it's gonna hold up a
I
poster
liked
board.
going into it too because you can tell the difference between the two confessionals before and after.
Oh yeah,
And a lot of the confessionals were before. How excited they are for Kenya, how much they're looking forward to the event, how far she's come. In Portia's confessional, you can tell that she knows Kenya's up to some shit. She's like, she's not going to let that slide. She's going to retaliate in some way. I'm just not sure how. It's like,
she said, "I hope
know
that
her.
you tacked your wig on."
yeah.
So something's going down.
Yeah.
She knows Kenya. Nothing's gonna go. Like she's not gonna let this slide. We just didn't know when she was going to
Yeah.
get her back. Couldn't have thought that this was gonna happen, but as that's happening, Kelly goes in a really cool Mercedes. I love those things.
Those things are
They're
so
so
cool.
sick. I want one
Got
so
her
bad.
name on the TV too.
I know, and it just I would live in
Riding
one
in
of those.
style.
Right?
I really, really applaud Kelly.
Wealth is back in
Yeah,
Housewives.
Wealth is really back in Housewives. Atlanta is leading the forefront right now.
I love it. I love it. But Kelly picks up Britt, and Britt's like, look, I want this to come off as genuine and as thoughtful. Like the fact that I'm going to her opening when all this shit went down, hopefully it speaks volumes. Like I want to, it's a grand gesture. She's going with the grand gesture.
She's noticeably nervous too.
Oh, very, very.
And we've seen her full of confidence this whole season, even last week.
Mhm.
This week on the bus, not confident at all.
Not even remote.
Very nervous that Kenya could do anything with these flowers. She could do anything with me. She might not let me in. There's security here. There's all these things going through her head. Nothing as bad as what happened,
No.
of course. But
No.
yeah.
She did write her a card too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but again, that's the craziest part because this is a situation in any other situation that we have covered with not knowing what the outcome was, where I'd be like, look, whatever her reaction is warranted because
Yeah.
you said pistols.
Yeah. Kind of changes the game.
It really does, right? Like
I'm not going to make that mistake again.
never,
Yeah.
because if this is what could end up happening, but
And we say that even knowing what was going to happen.
I know.
Just not how bad it was going
I
to be.
didn't know
Yeah.
it was going to be like that. But at the event, we get have you ever had a Bronner Brothers hair battle?
Nope.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
I think I'm missing out.
I thought the same
Yeah.
thing. It's like, wow, that's really cool. That was all hair.
Mm-hmm.
The feathers, the
Incredible.
queen one.
Fucking Spider one was crazy.
That was wacky. I know. That shit's
The
cool
Queen
as
one
hell.
looked the best. I do think that the
I
Queen
agree.
won, and that was deservedly so.
Gave me Bridgerton vibes.
Yeah, but the Spider one really.
Spider
got me
one I
going.
thought was the winner.
Yeah.
I like that one better, but you know, we're not Bronner Brothers, so we're Bravo Brothers.
Yes, we
You know.
are. But before we get back to the rest of our show, I just wanted to share a quick word from our friends over at Boll and Branch. You know, Steele and I love Boll and Branch. We rock their sheets all the time, and nothing gets me going, especially in a big spring refresh, like just changing my sheets. And I honestly will wash my Boll and Branch sheets as much as humanly possible because they get softer every single time, and I get excited every time, and that is the way that I want to spend my spring.
You know what I just got from there?
What's that?
A waffle blanket.
Oh, me too.
Have you ever stayed in like a 5-star hotel? I'm talking like, you know, maybe like a nice Ritz-Carlton in a nice city, and you slide into that bed and they have that extra blanket on top. You're like, oh my God,
Oh, yeah.
this magical hotel bed. That's my bed at home now, thanks to Boll and Branch.
It is an unbelievable combination of laying in their signature hem sheets and then putting that waffle blanket on top of me. I am so cozy. I sleep so much better at night. I have a little thing that'll monitor my sleep, and it does like recovery and all this other stuff. I swear my sleep is so much better when I have a great combo of the sheets and the waffle blanket up top. I'm like snug as a bug in a rug, you know what I mean?
Darn tootin'.
Hell yeah, brother. And the best part about Boll and Branch is they have their 30-night worry-free guarantee. So you can try Boll and Branch sheets for an entire month. And look, you're not going to dislike them.
Promise.
But it is nice to have that promise and that guarantee. So go upgrade your sleep with Boll and Branch's annual spring event. For a limited time, get 20% off at bollandbranch.com/brosndshows. That's Boll and Branch, BOLLAND branch.com/brosnshows to take 20% off site-wide for a limited time. Exclusions apply. See site for details.
But as all this is going on, Britt and Kelly are still shooting the shit, and now Britt's trying. This was intentional. She's laying the groundwork, you know, and of course I feel for her. You know, my aunt just had a stroke this week. My dad passed away recently. She's going through a lot of shit. I respect that. That's very fair. You're going through a lot of things. this feels like you're saying this to give yourself some reason for what had happened at the bank. I don't think that was a smart play.
Sort of like what Drew's doing, where she says, "I'm going through a divorce."
Drew was so haphazard and just
dude.
missed the mark.
Yeah.
She's brutal. Everyone else is awesome this season. And
Yeah.
I enjoy watching the Drew
Drew
scenes.
is very funny, yeah.
Just because I'm like, you think this is working?
Yeah, and she's a blatant liar.
Just
It's
flat
just
out.
so great.
Yeah, it's entertaining. I don't want her off the show by any
No.
means. It's just
I
watching
just
her.
love that, like, she would never really get caught in her lies if she didn't talk as much as she did.
If she stopped, right?
She proves herself wrong in
know.
confessionals constantly
know.
by telling us too much and then telling somebody something else.
Just stop talking.
Yeah,
Like if you
I
say
can't wait, yeah.
say the first part and then shh,
Yeah.
and you'll be good. But then you over explain and then you forget what you explained, and now you're saying something that contradicts
Yeah.
what you explained. It's the Sedora effect.
Yeah.
Everyone knows the
Point of
Sedora
it.
effect, but at the event, Cynthia, Porsha, and Shamea are just going over it. All they're doing is laying the groundwork so that we're all
Yeah.
caught up. We know what's about to come, and it's like, look, I wonder if Britt's coming, and Cynthia's like, I don't think she will. I really don't think she will. But if she does, like, she can't be mad if Kenya doesn't accept her apology. Like, they're like, yeah, that's true. And again, Porsha, this is where she literally says, Kenya's in retaliation mode right now.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's going to happen, but she's the only one that's being realistic. Everyone else, and I think the other cast members that know Kenya are like, this isn't over yet, but they're
Yeah.
like holding on to hope.
They're like, you know what? There's something else has her attention right now.
Yeah, the
She's just
salon.
gonna straight up ignore Britt if she does show up, or she's not gonna let her in. Right now, she's not gonna let anything ruin this moment. She'll get back to Britt whenever she has to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Nope.
that's
Not
no.
what happened.
I'm anxious to talk about it.
I know.
Drew tries to hug Porsha. Porsha blows her off. Now Drew takes the fucking high road and she's like, it's been long enough. This has been long enough. Can we just hash this shit out? Hey, I'm going through a divorce, okay? And I'm not going to bang Dennis,
I
too.
thought she was just gonna lean on the "I'm going through a divorce. I'm not even thinking about
I'm
things
dealing
like
with
that."
a lot.
Not I'm not gonna bang Dennis of all people.
Don't say
What?
that. Why would you say that? That's not even what Porsha said.
No.
She said she doesn't want you filming with him. And then you say bang. Or I don't even know what she
But,
said.
like, this is where Drew gets caught up in all of her lies because she goes in and makes it seem like I tried to hang out with her so many different times to tell her specifically about this. We've now known about it since Shamea's party. We've been talking about it. You're still dodging Porsha.
Pick
You're
up
not
the
talking about
phone.
it. You don't have to have some one-on-one sit-down. I feel like she has this in her mind where it's like, all right, the only way that we can discuss this is if I sit down with her one-on-one and we talk about it on camera.
Yep.
Just pick up the phone, call her.
That's
If
literally,
she doesn't answer and you do it like 2 or 3 times over the course of a week or two, then yeah, you can play this game.
that's on you now. That's on Porsha now. But that's what Porsha says to her. She's like, just use common sense, dude.
Mhm.
Fucking pick up the phone. Drew's like, I've tried so many times. I can't get through. You've tried thrice. We know that for a fact because you told us how many times you tried and you told us how you tried. And that was not even remotely enough effort. You said that you called her once. She didn't answer. You were supposed to go to dinner at Nobu once. She had to cancel because she was sick.
But these were all different times when Porsha didn't know what was going on with Dennis.
Correct. She
Now
knows.
she knows, and it's been one time that she hasn't been able to go out with you because she was sick after Shamea's party.
Call her.
Yeah. That's all you got to do.
It's so
Call her
easy.
and talk about it.
Pick up the phone. It's so dumb, but it's entertaining to watch. Like
Very entertaining
I
to
can't get enough of it, but it's just crazy. But Britt approaches Kenya, tries to apologize, and it was like one last hurrah for the good Kenya Moore. Just cold, like the coldest of cold
Yeah.
shoulders. He doesn't even look at her. Just shifts, goes on to everybody else. Hey, how are you? How are you? How are you? Britt is still like chasing around like a puppy dog. Like, well, I'll just leave these here then. And I am sorry. And did you hear that? I'm sorry.
Mhm.
I'm
If you
sorry.
didn't hear me, you can read it in my note.
Yep. Don't burn the card. Please don't burn the card because I'm so sorry. When Britt is like, look, I'm going to bounce and is like hugging people to leave. I'm like, I wonder if she gets held up for the speech. Like, I
Yeah.
wonder if she's present for it. She doesn't need to be there for it.
No, thankfully she wasn't there.
Yeah, and she was not. She gets outside, and Kenya starts her speech. Starts off pretty normal. I built this salon for my daughter. We saw her earlier in front of the step and repeat saying, I want my daughter to be a boss like me. So I did this for my daughter. And instantly, I was like, oh, fuck. Like, it happened so fast. Everything shifted. I was like, oh, no. Because this is a packed place.
Yep.
There's media. There's friends, acquaintances, people she probably didn't even know, future potential customers. I don't know. And the first thing
Perhaps
that she
investors,
says, perhaps investors,
franchisees.
not anymore, because she starts out with, people are trying to take me down, which could go one way. It's like, but look at me now. Nope. People are trying to take me down. And I had a person looking for a moment. Here's her fake flowers. So now everyone, that was so strategic and I think brushed over. Now everyone knows who you're talking about because they saw Britt walk in with the flowers.
We could stop this at any point, and I'd be like, that's pretty good.
Yep.
That's pretty good. That's funny. That's a good way to get her back in front of all of these people, embarrass her.
Thank you all for coming.
Yep. Not going to let this shit get me down. Thank you all for coming. Have a great day.
Nope, that's not what happens at all because she says, get rid of those flowers, by the way. I love Kelly running over. Whoa,
Let me get the card.
Get that card. So, ship, grab that
Stay
card.
out of this shit, Kelly.
Yeah, she literally goes, stay out of this. But she goes, burn that shit. Stay out of it. I'm going to pay you dust. And blows dust. I wish you did. I wish you did.
Yeah, this isn't dust.
Dust implies nothing. You did everything and then some because she fucking pulls out not one. And that's the other thing. I thought it would be one.
There was also more back there.
Oh, I know.
I don't know where this would have gone.
Don't want to know.
Or it did go, and Bravo cut it out.
Oh my God. She has a stack of like poster board. And the first one is like Britt.
Who is this bitch?
Who is this bitch? And it's Britt pre-plastic surgery and post-plastic surgery. From what I gathered, they blurred it out.
The images, yeah.
Even if it ended there. First, business-wise, not great for you. This is a terrible start. Everyone here, as you're talking, by the way.
Nobody wants to see your personal vendetta.
No. And like
over somebody that you just met like 3 weeks ago.
Right. And no one else is invested in this fight. Nobody understands what's going on. And they came here for this grand opening of your salon, this happy occasion that you've worked your ass off on. And now you're talking shit about somebody and holding up pre and post pictures of their plastic surgery. However, had you stopped there, I'd be like, all right, that's one of the shadier Housewives moves we've seen in a while, but it's not out of the realm of possibility in the Housewives world. But the next one, that one really does the trick because the next one, that's Britt performing oral sex on somebody.
Yep.
And the room gasps or stays silent and awkwardly leaves.
Yeah.
Like, I can't imagine being in this fucking room. I would be like, I might pee. I don't know what I would do.
Even though I think actually the second slide was the video vixen. Was her like, look at her up here in rap videos. I used to do that too, but I'd get
I was a leading lady.
I was a leading
She's
lady.
a trap hoe. I was like, you're posturing in front of a bunch of people at your posture the salon.
Still time to pull the plug.
Yeah, we can do this. You're so don't do it. Like,
you're not getting good reactions right
no
now.
one's
What do you
reacting.
think's gonna happen?
You're not making a sound. No one's like, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Hit her.
Woo. No one's doing that.
No.
And the fact that you say, who's trying to take food out of my daughter's mouth? At the current moment, Kenya, you are.
Yeah.
You sunk her college fund in here and you're having a shit fit in front of your opening party. What are you doing? And you're showing weird posters and people don't know who this is. Well, they do now because you pointed her out, which makes it even worse. Which, like you said, had you ended it there in the beginning, God, it would have been great. But no, and then after the trap hoe thing, then she pulls out that one that I just said. I don't even want to say it again. And everyone's like, nope.
Yeah.
Nope. Except fucking Drew, of all people. It's just like turning circles, like staying right there. Porsha bounces. Cynthia bounces. Everyone bounces. I'm not sitting here for this. I'm not going to be a party to this. It's ridiculous. And in the post-confessionals, Porsha, I thought she said it the best because she was like, there were so many years of effort going into this moment.
Yeah.
And you might as well just throw it all out the window now. You're back at square one after this shit. And now that we've gotten to this point, I was just trying to get here because, like you said, there wasn't a lot happening. I wanted to get through the scene so we could discuss the scene. And the biggest thing that's weighing on people's minds, why was Britt not reprimanded for the pistols comment? Which I firmly and fully agree with. Action should have been taken when it happened. Bravo should have stepped in and at the very least suspended her pending an investigation to make sure that the I don't think that Britt was going to shoot her.
No, but once you bring it into the fold, then you open yourself up to all of those things.
Think about it from this perspective. If you're in an office, if you're
Mm-hmm.
working for a company, if you're doing literally anything in this world and you say that,
Yeah.
the cops are going to come. There's going to be an investigation because you threatened somebody with a gun. That's how it's going to be taken. So the fact that Bravo didn't step in is disappointing. The fact that Bravo didn't take action early, because had they stepped in, and I'm not saying that this would exonerate Kenya by any means, but had they stepped in early with Britt, maybe we don't get to this point.
I think this was a mess of problems. And when we think back to last summer when we're hearing about what's going on in Atlanta, we're worried that they're never even going to air the season.
Right.
Because we hear little bits and pieces. This is what happened. Kenya's not finishing filming. Why is Kenya not finishing? Apparently, Phaedra's coming in to come help out. They had to do a whole shakeup of the entire cast. It sounded like an absolute mess.
And then we found out about the picture later.
Yes. Then we found out about the picture later. We didn't know what prompted it until pretty much we saw it last week.
Yep.
So if I had to use my best guess here, I'm assuming Bravo did not want to pull the plug on it after what Britt did. Didn't want to suspend her. We've got new women. Now what? We're just going to get rid of somebody 3-4 weeks into the season after all of this. Let's see how this plays out, because there's no reasonable logic used to have Britt go to Kenya's opening the very next day, 2 days later. That's insane after what she did. And
If you're not
Bravo
gonna
heard
do
about
anything,
it.
yeah.
There's production and all the women are talking about it. Now we're having sit downs discussing it. Britt should have been suspended. They didn't. And to make matters even worse, they let her go to a Kenya party.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that anything's excusable that Kenya did, but they did allow this to go on. They shouldn't have. And I think they were just worried about their product. They didn't want to ruin everything again.
And see, that's where I don't agree. Not with you, with Bravo. It's like, the safety of your cast comes first. The well-being of your cast comes first. And if Kenya felt threatened, she had every right to, because she said pistols multiple times. So she might have felt a type of way.
It's the butterfly effect, too. You don't get rid of Britt. You don't suspend Britt. This is what happens, unfortunately.
Had you
If you did that and suspended her for a couple of weeks, or had some sort of sit down, or had her removed from the cast for a little while until you guys figured it out, we wouldn't have had any of this. Kenya would still be on the screens. We would have had maybe a little bit of a weird limbo in the middle of the season where you're figuring shit out and people are talking about it.
Phaedra's back. No one's talking about it.
Phaedra will come back and it would have been fine.
Yep.
So, all of the actions that they took, or lack thereof, resulted in what they got, which was one of the worst parts of Housewives that we've ever seen.
Yeah, and again, none of this vindicates, exonerates, or even softens the blow of what Kenya did. That was fucking insane. It's awful. I do feel bad for Britt. I can't imagine being exposed like that in front
it's
of
fucking insane.
just a bunch of people you don't even know. Like, you have to
Yeah.
feel awful about yourself. You have to feel awful about the situation, which you shouldn't. It's not your fault. But, yeah, Kenya took it way too far. And last week when we're like, we kind of get it. Oh, no, I don't.
No.
Not at all. Not even remotely. This
No.
was way too far.
There is a silver lining. At least the rest of the women in the cast, not one of them supported Kenya.
Nobody did.
Not one of them did.
Nope.
Because that could have gone in the moment. You don't know where it is, if they even like Britt, or if they like Kenya a lot more and they're just going to accept her for who she is. Damn, that was fucking crazy that you did that. Kind of funny. Nobody did that at all. Not one person stepped up. Half of them left. The ones that stayed behind, as I highlighted earlier with Cynthia saying, you've worked too hard to do this. You just threw it all away. This isn't who you are. And Kenya sitting there, she didn't have this whole smugness about her. She didn't have this oh yeah, I really just needed to show her who she was working with or anything like that. I think she realized when people left, and when Cynthia said it, she's like, fuck, okay. Or producers came over and were like, what are you doing?
Yeah, what the fuck? Why didn't you tell us about this? And I think here's the other side of it now. It's really disappointing and really upsetting that Kenya did this for her own life.
Yeah.
The fact that you admittedly sunk your daughter's education fund into this, the fact that you're building this place up to be something that your daughter can be proud of, this will forever and always be the moment that is related to your salon.
Yeah.
The fact that you decided to do something like this and you put revenge ahead of your family's well-being is embarrassing.
Yeah.
And it's uncouth, and it's crazy that somebody even, and I know that Kenya can go, further than a lot, and I know that she gets into some wackier shit because she doesn't like to be disrespected. I know that. But the fact that you put the show, you thought this was going to be a moment, you thought that this is going to be a big I gotcha. You didn't think for 1 second about how this would impact your family, you, the business, and I think the business will be fine. There's a lot of Kenya Moore stands that are blindly supporting this, like, oh, it's Britt's fault. It's like, no, that's the
No,
wrong
yeah.
approach. But yeah, that was my biggest takeaway was watching this after like you literally said earlier in the episode, I have too much to lose. You said I did this for my daughter, and
Yep.
then this is how you honor that. That's pretty embarrassing. And that's something that a tenured housewife you would think would be a landmine she could sidestep.
Yeah, did she just think that she was untouchable?
I think that's what it was. I think
That's what I was getting.
she thinks that she's above it, and she's like, boom, watch this.
Yeah.
And then I think the moment that Cynthia said that to her, you
It
can
set
watch
in.
her demeanor. She was
Yep.
like, whoops.
Yeah, there was remorse
Yep.
for
So-
herself.
So yeah, as we said in the beginning, Kenya no more. Now let's get to some questions. I'm curious how these are going to look.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. From Kara Miriam Woods, if Britt was reprimanded in real time, would Kenya still have reacted the same way?
We'll never
We
know.
don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
that's-
going to say probably not. I think that if she was reprimanded immediately, whether it's a suspension or kicked off the tour, Doug. I'm just trying to lighten the mood.
No, that's
over
good.
Here, you know.
It's fun.
But I think if she was reprimanded, I think Kenya would have realized, like, all right, she got her comeuppance. I'm still
think
gonna
there
talk
would have
shit about
been
it.
Something, but not
wouldn't
to
have
this
been this,
degree.
no.
But who knows?
This was to embarrass her in person. I don't even know if this would have happened if Britt didn't go.
I don't know
I
because
think she was prepped for it, but I don't think she would have done it.
It's interesting. I don't know. The hindsight game with this one, or the foresight, whatever you want to say, it's impossible. Who the fuck knows? I hope she wouldn't do this if something happened, but maybe she would have.
Who knows? From K Stokes 829, what do you think it says about Drew for staying behind with Kenya?
It looks like shit.
Yeah.
She looked like shit. She didn't even say anything.
She wasn't there like Cynthia was there to give her shit. To be
Cynthia
like,
was
hey,
there
what
for
are
a
you
purpose.
doing? But Drew was there to support
standing
Kenya.
there
Yeah.
because she's Drew. It's the Sedora effect. It's all encompassing.
Yeah. From K Jones 479, I think that both of them should have been shown the door, Kenya and Britt.
I think that's fair too.
I think
that's a
that's
reasonable.
probably the most
request.
reasonable. From our buddy Ryan Stoneman 83, the scene was worse than I thought it was. Yeah, honestly.
Yeah.
Can Kenya come back from this?
No.
No, she can't.
No, it's. I mean, when you talk from a legal standpoint, you can claim revenge porn, and that's a felony. So
Yeah.
we're not.
From Michael E. Bose, do you think they tried to humanize Britt so that we'd feel bad for her and she could stay even after her previous comments?
Yep.
I think that's what that
Yeah,
was. I
they're
think she
trying-
was trying to do it for herself too, and production helped.
I think production saw what was going on. I think they're like, fuck, we need to cover our own ass. We need to try to paint her as the victim in this whole situation, even though she did threaten with pistols by saying pistols in that moment. So they gave her a very, very shockingly gentle edit throughout this entire episode. Let her talk about the passing of her aunt. Let her talk about the passing of her father. Let her have those scenes with Kelly. Let her have those scenes with Shamea and Cynthia, all the
Yeah.
big hitters on the show, to try to show, hey, she's not all that bad. She can be a good part of this show. She made a mistake. It's like you guys are minimizing the pistol comment, which is horse shit. And it led to this moment
Yep.
because Bravo fucked up by not acting, potentially led to Kenya's departure for doing something horrible. And that's Kenya's fault. There's a lot of nuances here. You have to dance around, so
we
don't
do
say
have
something
to-
fucked
yeah.
up. Kenya's wrong. Britt was wrong. Both could have been fired. I would have no issue with that. Both deserve to be fired for what they did. Bravo dropped the ball by not stepping in and doing something earlier and by trying to paint Britt out to be the victim and this lovely, lovely person that just said pistols the week before to another person.
Yes.
There.
And last one here from Mary Had a Little. Not a question, but you guys got me back into Atlanta after my Porsha strike, and I thank you.
Hey, you're welcome. It is good, man. It's a good show.
Yeah.
I'm so curious about next week.
Yeah.
Don't even know.
We're just going to have to prep for Fallout. Probably a couple of weeks of it,
Yeah.
but we'll be okay because there's still some other things that we need to discuss this season. So
Yeah, I think we're good.
yeah.
I think we're okay.
Porsha and Drew will probably take center stage.
I would imagine. And then
And here's the other thing for the people that are bitching about like Kenya being gone, like it's going to be a bad show. This whole season, Kenya's been fine,
she's barely been on.
but the Britt Kenya thing being a storyline was annoying because
Yep.
there was nothing there, and that's Britt's fault, not Kenya's fault. But there was nothing there, so we're not missing anything by having the two of them. If Britt got sent home too, by having them and their storyline be gone means nothing. There's so many other things that we can talk about.
Yeah. Yep. So that's all I got. You got anything else?
Nope.
That's our show. Bro's gotta go.
Bye. Oh fuck.